Tonight on Her Say, we discuss breast cancer, Kenya's second cause of cancer death. We particularly take a look at a mammogram procedure, how to self-examine your breasts, and just what is the prevalence of breast cancer in men. That's a conversation that shall come your way shortly in this broadcast, but first, the highlights. A 14-year-old boy drowns in Athi River. This as Health Ministry issues guidelines for rainy season safety. Kalonzo Musyoka is seeking answers following allegations of inflated salaries within the National Treasury.
We are not going to allow people to mess around the people who have already been messed, because the family beneficiaries were messed. And now, political class want to mess the entire group, the victims and the family.
And Gershon Kirima heirs differ on how settlers in the land should be handled. Welcome to the broadcast. We invite you to engage with us on our social media handles at TV47 News on X, TV47 Kenya on Facebook. My X handle is at Grace Korea Kanja. Happy New Month, by the way. I hope it's not too late to say that, okay? Our sign language interpreter tonight is Rhoda Nyamai, and my name is Grace Korea Kanja. Now, we begin on a sad note where a 14-year-old boy has died in a drowning incident in Athi River, Machakos County. Extensive disruptions continue to be witnessed following the heavy rains in the country. Now, in Kiambu County, a bridge on the river Ndarugu was rendered unusable when a lorry transporting construction bricks became immobilized on it. This crucial bridge, which connects Thika and Juja, brought local traffic to a complete standstill. Vera Alberta kicks us off tonight.
A tragic incident unfolded when a 14-year-old boy tragically drowned in the river Athi, Machakos County, while tending to cattle with his friends. The police commander, Jose Mudavadi, has confirmed the incident and strongly advised residents to avoid the river during the heavy rainy season. In Kiambu County, the community rallied together to assist in freeing a lorry that was stuck on the river Ndarugu bridge. The collapsed bridge stands as a stark symbol of the extensive impact of the relentless heavy rains that continue to pound several parts of the country.
Iliharibika na tukaweza kufika mahali pale tukapata hakuna mtu aliyeumia na hakuna gari haikuharibika vile isipokuwa daraja iliharibika.
Transportation services in the area came to a standstill due to the bridge's vital role in connecting Juja and Thika. Elsewhere in Wajir North, the town of Buna has been entirely submerged by floods, prompting local leaders to fervently appeal for assistance. The Ministry of Health, using its social media platforms, has also issued a precautionary message to Kenyans, emphasizing on the importance of maintaining high levels of hygiene as a proactive measure against the anticipated rise in waterborne diseases during this period of heavy rainfall. They have also suggested safety measures and precautions such as staying indoors, ventilating homes, boiling or treating water, using latrines and clearing drainage to prevent tragic situations. Emergency cases can be reported to 719 or 0729 471 414 or 0732 35 3535. Vera Alberta, TV47, Nairobi.
Thank you, Vera, for that. Now, the family of the late Gershon Kirima has lauded the court's ruling, affirming their rightful ownership of the contested 1,000 acres of Njiro land. They have declared they will not enter into any negotiations until a comprehensive market valuation and an accurate count of the individuals occupying the land are conducted. However, sharp division has emerged between the Kirima heirs regarding claims that negotiations have already commenced. Sheila Chelangat reports.
For the first time, the family of former Starehe MP Gershon Kirima has come forward to address the controversy surrounding the 1,000-acre land in Njiru following the court's decision to uphold their ownership.
Administrators Teresia Wairimo and Anne Wangari Moshoki Kirima are not acting on behalf of or have not been mandated or requested to negotiate on behalf of the beneficiaries, because the court has already distributed the property to the beneficiaries.
Regarding the fate of the squatters on the land, the family has stated that negotiations will not commence until an assessment of their total number is established. This as the squatters have approximately 2 months to vacate in compliance with the court orders.
And therefore we need to establish who they are, verify all their documentation, establish how much had they paid, how much is yet due to be paid. Third step, we need to carry out current market valuation, investment valuation, to find out what amount of money are we talking about.
The over 300 families residing on the disputed land, who have claimed 80 acres of it as their home for more than 12 years, are facing increased uncertainty.
I am not aware of any negotiations that Anne Wangari Kirima and Teresia Wairimo have been carrying out with people who are in Jiro. But I'd like to clarify that if they are doing so, they are not doing so on behalf of the beneficiaries to whom the land is vested by way of a High Court order.
Just last week, Kasarani MP Ronald Karauri alleged that some files mysteriously disappeared from the Ministry of Land. These allegations have not been received well by the family.
I'm not going to allow people to mess around the people who have already been messed, because the family beneficiaries were messed. And now, political class want to mess the entire group, the victims and the family.
According to the family, the court's decision was just maintaining that they are the legitimate owners of the land.
Land has already been distributed by the court to the beneficiaries. So the land belongs to all the beneficiaries of the estate of Garishan Kamau Kirima.
In a surprising twist, an Italian national has filed an application in court challenging the decision. In his affidavit, he claims that false documents were presented. However, this matter is yet to be addressed in court. Sheila Chelangat for TV47.
Thank you, Sheila Chelangat, for that. Now, Kigumo residents in Murang'a County, I'm smiling because that's home, by the way. So residents in my hometown were captivated by the extraordinary talent of a middle-aged man from Madarene. Stanley Gaido, hailing from Kigumo constituency, displayed a remarkable ability to peacefully coexist with a swarm of bees that surrounded his head. Now, this unique talent, which has left many in awe, was discovered when he was just 9 years old. Paul Kirobi tells us more.
In Kigumo village, Murang'a constituency, there is a remarkable and unique individual named Stanley Gaido, who has captivated the community with his astonishing skill of maintaining bees around his head without them stinging him. Gaido, a middle-aged man, has made this extraordinary talent his sole source of income, having discovered it at the age of 9 years old. Many were left in awe when they witnessed how the bees coexisted peacefully with Gaido around his head and neck, refraining from stinging him. This incredible feat sparked numerous questions on social media as people wondered how he had befriended one of the most feared insects on earth. When asked how he is coping with this, Gaido had this to say.
Nilianza kitambo hii kazi nikiwa na miaka 9. Hiyo ni talanta yangu. Hata sifanyangi kazi nyingine. Sasa kitu nataka ni mizinga mingi nisaidiwe ikuwe kwa wingi. Kiitoa mahali kama kwa nyumba mahali sinasubua watu huwa naweka kwa mizinga. Ndio atengeneze asali hapo.
Anakuaga ni msaidizi wangu kwa sababu hii mizinga iliyoko hapa ni yangu na yeye ndio unisaidia kutoa asali kwenye mizinga.
However, the mystery remained as to why other residents couldn't approach the bees without risking stings, as mentioned by a local resident.
Mahali tulienda na yeye juzi ni ilinidunga sana hiyo nyuki na yeye hakuwa anaiondokea.
This extraordinary incident drew the attention of various leaders in the region, including Kigumo's Member of County Assembly Caroline Wairimo and Murang'a County CEC Dr. Kiringai Kamau, saying they will send extension officers to Gaitho's farm to assess the feasibility of bee farming and explore ways the county could support him.
Hivyo nikakuja hapa kwa asubuhi ndio nione hii kazi yenye anafanya, mpaka hata watu wa kijiji tukue pamoja wajionee vijana vile wataweza kuanza biashara kama hii ya kufuga nyuki.
Stanley Gaitho's unique talent of maintaining bees around his head without being stung has captured the attention of his community and local leaders who are considering ways to support his bee farming endeavors. Paul Kerobi, TV47.
All right, please don't ask me if I can do that, okay? But do I say good job there to my home person? Home who? All right, nice one there, Paul Kirobi Asante. Let's move on now. And the government has urged leaders in the coast region to take a lead in the fight against terrorism and other acts of lawlessness. Speaking in Lamu County, President William Ruto said the government is committed to addressing insecurity occasioned by incidents of terrorism. Emery Kisawa with the details.
Na kupanga maendeleo ya Lamu.
President William Ruto has underscored his willingness to collaborate with leaders from all political backgrounds across the country to foster national prosperity.
Niko tayari kabisa kufanya kazi na viongozi wenu wote. Wale ma MCM umewachagua, wabunge, senator, governor na kila mtu.
On his part, Defense Cabinet Secretary Aden Duale urged regional leaders to take the lead in combating terrorism, affirming the government's commitment to addressing security challenges resulting from acts of terrorism.
Tunataka watu waungane, makabila zote, dini zote, watu wa Lamu. We have one common enemy called Al-Shabaab. Na ya mwisho, Your Excellency, sisi tutapiga vita na Al-Shabaab ndani ya Somalia na hapa mpaka zetu.
Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, on his part, reiterated the Cabinet Secretary's stance on security in the Lamu region, commending the ministry's efforts in combating terrorism.
Tumekuwa hapa na shida katika kaunti hii ya Lamu, mambo ya ugaidi, mambo ya usalama, na ningetaka kuchukua nafasi hii kumshukuru sana waziri wetu Duale na wale maofisa wetu wa KDF, kumshukuru waziri Kindiki na PS Omolo na wale officers wetu wa National Police Service.
The president was speaking in Lamu County, where he officially inaugurated Lamu East Roads and Lamu East Technical Training Institute. The president emphasized that the government's renewed focus is on infrastructure, construction, and improvement.
Tumepanga mpango ya affordable housing kwa sababu tunataka kuwe na mpango sahihi ya kuhakikisha kwamba serikali inashughulika na mahali wananchi wanaishi.
This initiative aims to open up remote and marginalized regions for economic activities, providing more opportunities for Kenyans. Kisewa Emory, TV47.
Thank you, Kisewa Emery, for that. Let's move on. In the Council of Governors and the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union, that is KMPDU, have reached an agreement on the criteria of promoting doctors in counties, even as the Council of Governors now promises to set aside monies in the county budgets to employ more doctors and specialists.
Amid the rollout of President William Ruto's Universal Health Coverage Program, which places county governments as the primary executors of this initiative, there arises a pressing need for more collaborative relationship between health workers, unions, and the Council of Governors. Both of these entities play pivotal roles in the success of the Afya Nyumbani program. To this end, various ongoing consultations are taking place to enhance cooperation.
We've had lots of arguments. We have seen that the county actually is doing well. We do not have many of the issues of health workforce, but in our discussions, the county has given very critical and important commitments.
We want to acknowledge that the role that the KMPDU is playing currently in Kenya is more or less are working on a relationship with the counties who have the biggest health force for the health sector, and they are giving us a lot of advice that can be able to add value in how we can be able to improve our services.
According to the discussions between the two parties, most concerns such as doctor promotions, improved medical coverage for healthcare professionals, and better compensation are either being addressed immediately or will be included in the budgetary allocations in the January supplementary budgets to address any outstanding issues.
We have harmony in how we shall implement the promotions of health workforce, and also we have asked on our part that they need to continue talking to their members who are the medical doctors to continue upholding professionalism at work. It does not make any sense promoting a doctor because they came paid you, we have a good relationship, and this doctor spends most of their time away from the workstation. It makes no sense.
With this aspect of dialogue, given that it's also the chairman for Health Committee, we see to it that this issue of health workforce, this issue of commodities, if it's implemented here and copied to other counties, then indeed the idea of universal healthcare can actually be achieved.
There is also a recognized need for the training and empowerment of community health promoters who will work closely with doctors and other healthcare personnel to reduce congestion at referral hospitals. The Council of Governors Health Committee has been given the responsibility of bringing together health unions to facilitate a smooth implementation and consensus building. This effort aims to lead the rollout anchored in 4 laws which President Ruto signed into law on October 19th.
And tonight, pressure is mounting on the government to commence forensic audit on budgeted corruption after the Controller of Budget, Margaret Nyakango, revealed how the National Treasury has inflated her salary among other top government officials. Azimio Coalition leader Raila Odinga now wants the government to seal loopholes and protect public coffers, while his co-principal Kalonzo Musyoka said the National Treasury has to come clean on the allegations. Apollo Kamau with more.
The stunning revelations by the Controller of Budget, Margaret Nyakango, on how National Treasury officials have inflated salaries of key government officials, including her own annual pay by 3 times, have caught the attention of Azimio leaders Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka, who now want a forensic audit conducted in the National Treasury on the inflated pay, with Treasury officials' financial missteps blamed on the current high cost of living. Odinga telling Kenya Kwanza increasing taxes will not improve the economy.
Lakini umeona yale ambayo yule mama anaitwa Nyakango ameandika juu ya mambo ya ufisadi ndani ya serikali. Hakuna haja ya kutoza watu ushuru. Maliza ufisadi na mambo yatakuwa sawa sawa. Mambo yatakuwa sawa sawa.
Yani kitu ya ajabu. Therefore we are waiting for an explanation. And I think that before we do, we need to, I can tell you, if we can get only 5 Dr. Margaret Nyakangos in this country, then I can tell our teams in Parliament, in the Senate, and in the National Assembly that at least you can relax.
Azimio co-principal Martha Karua, who had flanked Odinga to the Luo Festival in Mombasa, warning the government not to joke with the cost of living agenda in the ongoing bipartisan talks.
Watu wa KK, mambo ya mazungumzo, wasichezee mambo ya kuteremsha gharama ya maisha. Wasichezee mambo ya electoral justice, ya kupungua nini?
Nyakango, during her appearance before the National Dialogue Committee this week to give her views on how to reduce the cost of living, further accused the National Treasury of taking loans which cannot be accounted for. The scandal is currently being investigated by her office and the Auditor General's office. Apol Kamau, TV47.
Thank you, Apollo Kamau, for that. To Trans Nzoia County now, where residents have urged the government to intervene and secure their access to cancer treatment. According to the residents, they are forced to travel long distances in search of medical aid. And as Isaac Famber now reports, Trans Nzoia County has recorded high cases of cancer in the recent past, with no facilities and specialists to address the situation.
Cancer patients in Trans Nzoia County encounter numerous challenges, particularly when seeking medical services, as high cost of treatment often leads to financial hardship and poverty. Majority of cancer patients in Trans Nzoia County have expressed their concerns about the lack of availability of medical services within the county, forcing them to travel far and wide in search of healthcare services.
Kama sisi hapa Trans Nzoia lazima tuende paka Eldoret kupata matibabu. Unapata kuna shida, changamoto mingi, hakuna pesa, hakuna fare.
Kansa imefanya watu wanakuwa na umasikini sababu matibabu inakuwa expensive. Wagonjwa wengi wanaogopa hata kwenda hospitali kwa ajili ya expenses. Wanapofikiria kutoka Kitale mpaka Eldoret ni pesa. Kansa yenyewe matibabu si ati NHIF peke yake inaweza cover hiyo ugonjwa. Ukienda kujitibu lazima utoe tena pesa yako kwa mfuko ujitibu.
According to Dr. Emmanuel Wanjala, the Chief Medical Officer in Trans Nzoia County, cervical cancer has significantly affected many people in the region, followed by throat and breast cancer in both women and men.
Saratani ambayo ni ya juu sana katika kaunti hii yetu ya Trans Nzoia ni ile ya kuhusika na uzazi, especially wa kike, ile cervical cancer. Na ile ingine inafuata sana karibu kwa karibu ni hii ambayo inashika koo, ile tunaita esophageal cancer. Inafuata kwa karibu sana na ile kansa ya kushika matiti, especially kwa wanawake, na pia kuna ile kansa ya matiti ya inashika pia wanaume.
Recent statistics of cancer in the country reveal that approximately 47,000 people are newly affected each year, with 33,000 succumbing to the disease. Alarmingly, only 23% of the sick receive treatment in various health centers. Breast cancer ranks as the most prevalent at 15.9%, followed by cervical cancer at 13.3% and throat cancer at 11.8%. While efforts to combat the disease persist, there is a call for the government to invest more in the health sector, including construction of specialized cancer treatment centers.
Zile tu changamoto yenye tuko naye ni bei ya madawa ni ghali sana. Kwa hivyo tungependa serikali tukumbuke sisi watu wenye tunaugua kansa, waone vile watatusaidia ili hii cover yenye tuko naye NHIF itusaidie kupata hayo madawa, sababu unaweza kuwa na insurance, unaenda hospitali unaandikiwa madawa, unaambiwa hiyo dawa insurance haiwezi cover.
Wameandikiwa matibabu ya kwenda Eldoret, wengine Nairobi, lakini fare hakuna, so wanawacha. Nakwambia ningeenda lakini sina pesa. So wanasema sister, hii matibabu ingekuwa hapa Trans Nzoia ingekuwa rahisi, lakini kwa vile iko huko mbali sitaweza, wacha tu ikae. So unakuta hata boma zingine unakuta patients walikufa, unakuta zingine wako lakini hawana vile wataweza kufika hospitali.
Cancer affects individuals in 4 distinct stages. In the first stage, cancer cells closely resemble normal cells and do not divide easily. The second stage sees cancer cells that appear different from the normal one, cells dividing at faster rate than usual. In the third stage, cancer cells which exhibit abnormal characteristics may divide and spread more rapidly. The fourth stage is marked by the widespread distribution of cancer cells throughout the body, significantly impacting various organs. Isaac Famber, TV47, Trans Nzoia County.
Thank you, Isaac Famber, for that piece there on the cancer burden. And remember, that's actually a discussion tonight on HASE, breast cancer. To the world of sports now, in FKF Premier League, Sofapaka have registered their 7th loss of the season after falling to a 3-0 defeat against Talanta FC in the FKF Premier League fixture. Talanta dominated the match as they scored all the 3 goals in the second half, denying Batoto Bamungu a chance to move out of the relegation zone. Meanwhile, Nzoia Sugar registered a 1-0 victory against Kariobangi Sharks, while Nairobi City Stars stand AFC Leopards 3-2.
We really needed it because we have won only 2 matches, and we need also to step up because we were in a red line because the difference is just 1 point, 2 points. So at least we have gotten 3 points. It's a plus to the team. We are also planning. Now this one is history. We are planning for the next game and see whether we are going to get the win. It is game by game. So for now, I think we prepared to win the game. We did not prepare to lose.
A league is a marathon. Na hauwezi maliza lika uja lose game. So sisi kulose game hatuja lose. Tumelearn something from game ya leo. Hatujakuwa na winning streak, manake tulishinda moja, tukalose moja, tukashinda, tena leo tumelose. So we are going to work hard kwa mazoezi ili tuweze kushinda game yetu inayokuja.
Moving on, Kajiado FC defeated Rainbow FC 2-0 in the FKF National Super League Round 8 action played at Ildamat Stadium. Kajiado took an early lead through Abubakar Wangai's strike. However, Rainbow had 2 good scoring chances available to them within the first half, but were kept out by Kajiado FC's keeper Daniel Wamalwa as James Mutuku doubled the advantage for the host, with Kajiado bagging all the 3 points.
For a win, but we got a loss. We lost the match. All I can say is the positive. That's what I can pick. The positives, the second half, the way the team, they were down 2-0, and then the way they tried, their mentality, tried to score. We've had so many chances to score and also win the match, but unfortunately we didn't convert our chances. So of course we lost, but just to pick it up for the next match and then prepare for another win.
So ukiangalia for the last 2 matches tumecheza game away. It was not easy. It was not easy. Played against Luanda Villa. Of course ukiangalia game we were winning, just lost concentration. Waka equalized about the last minute. Last weekend we went to Sulibwet. Of course we were winning the game. Again the last few minutes tuka lose heads wakafunga. But naweza sema it's a process. This team is still young. And some of the players hawajacheza NSL. So it's their first season ya kucheza NSL. So and I'm very sure that they are growing and they can feel the intensity. Na wana feel pia demand ya NSL. So for today I will just say congratulations and kudos to the boys. We look forward to the next one.
And the National Olympics Committee of Kenya is hosting the 40th Association of National Olympic Committees of Africa seminar of the Secretaries General, which is in line with the Executive Board strategic plan for bidding and hosting international games and events. Now, today's agenda was on the road to Paris 2024 as esteemed delegates converged to deliberate on essential topics, including an insightful overview of the Paris 2024 Olympic villages and updates on venues. Additionally, discussions revolved around games, services, arrivals and departures. The seminar tackled crucial topics such as athlete qualification timelines for Paris 2024, the challenges and concerns faced by national Olympic committees as they approach the Games.
Gathering of the African sport movement. The Secretary Generals are the engine rooms of our NOCs, the different National Olympic Committees. And for them to be here together with the Treasurer Generals of the National Olympic Committees for a duration of 6 days to discuss on the financial matters, parameters, the good governance that is expected to be by all National Olympic Committees in accordance with international standards of good governance and audits. And then we will surge into other crucial issues such as preparations for the Paris 2024 Games, the upcoming African Games in Ghana, and also some of our internal projects such as Olymp Africa project and the fight against doping in sports in Africa.
And Bruno Fernandes earlier today scored the winning goal as Manchester United defeated Fulham 1-0 in the English Premier League.
The news that matters the most is the one that hits close to home. When disasters strike, we are there to inform you. When the bullets are flying, we tell you who's shooting and why. Reporting on your victories, your health, your money, your security, your past, present, and future. We are interested in telling the stories of creativity, hard work, and resilience that you are known for.
That is our job. This is my job. My name is Victor Muyakane, and it's my honor to bring you this news this way every Thursday night on the Home of Untold Stories.
Katika majengo haya, hapa ndipo sheria zinapotungwa na zinapopakuliwa. Nitakuletea viongozi mbalimbali, mirengo mbalimbali, wote kwa pamoja wakipika na kupakua. Tutawapa nafasi kuweza kuangazia changamoto na mafanikio ya ugatuzi katika ukumbi wa siasa kila siku ya Jumanne kuanzia saa 1 kamili na kuendelea.
Toka eneo hili la Naivasha kwenye kaunti 032, gatuzi la Nakuru.
Kutoka kaunti ya Elgeyo Marakwet, kaunti 028.
Nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Wajir.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Turukana.
Kwa matukio yote yanayojiri katika kaunti hii 012.
Kutoka kaunti nambari 1, kaunti ya Mombasa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Lamu.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka Kisii County.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Machakos.
Kutoka kaunti hii ya Trans Nzoia.
Kaunti 038.
Kutoka gatuzi nambari 029, kaunti ya Nandi, chemichemi ya mabingwa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Kakamega.
Itakuwa nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Bungoma.
Jina langu ni Paula Munio.
Willy Dennis Jiru.
Fabian Kibet.
Mimi ni Hashim Jimal.
Mimi ni Kitio Mika Masai.
John Javakiania.
Jina langu ni Abdulaziz Nameka.
Mimi ni Kombo Alfayo.
Jina langu ni Nicholas Mbai.
Isaac Famba.
Mimi ni Wanji Sosti.
Jina langu ni Arnold Adidi.
Jina langu ni Chris Bet.
Jina langu ni Violet Auma.
Na TV47 inapotamba, mimi Sheila Chelangat nitakuwa nikiripotia maswala yanayokuhusu wewe kila kuchao. Every Thursday 7:30 p.m. unapata nafasi kufahamu viongozi mbalimbali kutoka humu nchini, kuanzia wabunge.
Through Changa we could get money to pay our rent, pay our bills.
When I was growing up, water was a problem where I was born and bred. We wake up at 3 to go and look for water.
Magavana
must be ready to be a tough woman and not a woman to be walked over.
Kwa hivyo
you respect people.
Dari ya mfahamu kiongozi, story na historia, na mi Elizabeth Mutuku.
Kwa mirindimo kemkem ya michezo, mahojiano ya kipekee na mabingwa wetu, makala ya kuvutia pamoja na matukio mubashara viwanjani. Shabiki, tutapiga mbizi katika kila kiwanja, ndani na hata nje ya nchi. Mtazamaji, uko tayari? Ni kazi michezoni ama michezo kazini? Ungana nami Ahmed Bahaj, sajili mpya nimefika katika kipindi cha kipekee Mchaka Mchaka. Zitatoka cheche, tutapiga mstari chini yake. Si bora michezo, ni michezo kwa ubora wake. Mcheche.
They say money makes the world go round. So let's slow things down a bit. Put things in perspective. From the markets to the streets to the stocks, we make the complex comprehensible. Join me, Hibak Said, on TV47 Business News for market insights like never before.
What's making the headlines? What does it mean to you? How does it affect you? We answer all these questions every Sunday for half an hour on To The Point Show. Hey, I'm Grace Kuriakanja, and a lot has happened this week. Let's dive into it.
Wanasema wasemao kuwa elimu ni bahari haishi kwa kuchotwa. Wakati mwingi natangamana na wanafunzi madarasani, sio kama mwalimu bali kama nahodha kwenye kipindi cha tasnia ya elimu. Na iwapo utanikosa madarasani, basi utanipata nyanjani nikisaka habari zenye usawa, ufasaha na ukweli. Na iwapo utanikosa nyanjani, bila shaka utanipata studioni hapa nikisoma habari na kuendesha mijadala mikomavu. Mimi ni Andrin Kilemi, mpenzi wa lugha ya Kiswahili na elimu kwa jumla.
Well, if it is happening, then we are definitely talking about it on TV47's Disruptive Friday. Don't miss a moment on the most technological and disruptive moment on TV.
All right, thank you so much for staying with us. Time now for Her Say. And our conversation tonight, like you already know, is breast cancer, of course, on the back of Breast Cancer Awareness Month, whose theme is pink. Color pink, probably why I'm in pink today, yeah? So thank you for staying with us. Time now for that conversation with my guests, Madam Melody Ocheng, who is a breast cancer warrior and survivor. Karibu sana, thank you for joining us tonight. Okay. And Dr. Lalit Varad Pande, did I pronounce it correctly?
Yes.
Great, a medical oncologist at the Nairobi West Hospital. Karibu ni sana, thank you for joining us. Remember, like I've been saying, cancer is the second, breast cancer rather, is the second cause of cancer-related deaths in the country. And of course, our conversation tonight shall particularly focus on the mammogram procedure and just how to self-examine your breasts. And also we'll get statistics or the prevalence of breast cancer in men. Because Doc, I'm going to start with you, Melody, but Doc, can you imagine there's a time in October, I remember, we had a story on breast cancer just here in the studio, and one of the men in the studio was shocked that men actually, you know, can get breast cancer. We shall talk about that, right? Yes. Yeah. So, Melody, I want to... That man is Emmanuel. I'm a December. That's my director. Can you imagine? Okay. So, Melody, I want to start with you, and I want us to get your story. I want our viewers to know your story in regards to our conversation tonight and know why we're calling you a breast cancer warrior. Melody.
Okay, thank you very much, Grace, and thank you, TV47, for having us here. So I went through the treatment. I was diagnosed of breast cancer in 2019. And of course, like any other sickness, you know, you know there is treatment for it. But with cancer, you know, because of whatever is out there, the stigma of the treatment is harsh, it's financially draining. So as soon as someone is diagnosed, myself, for instance, my husband and I were thinking, how are we going to go through this? Of course, we had insurance and all, but with cancer, we knew, you know, it can go maybe extra.
Can be extreme.
Exactly. So we went through it, and It wasn't easy. Of course, as I said, I was diagnosed of stage 2 breast cancer. So we didn't know exactly what that means. And then we went to see our oncologist. He's called Dr. VJ. He told us it's triple negative. Triple negative means it could have been caused by anything. It could be stress, change of environment, anything at all. So we had to go through the treatment. He said with this type of cancer, he's going to hit hard, which he did. At some point, I was actually giving up. I didn't want to go through the treatment anymore because it had become so tough on my body. At some point, I didn't even have blood. I lost a lot of blood, so I had to go for blood transfusion, which was a bit traumatizing at that time. But then we thank God I went through it, and I am here. I did 8 sessions of chemotherapy and 25 sessions of radiotherapy at Nairobi West Hospital. Yes.
All right, you've pretty much actually summed up everything, but I shall get back. But before actually I move on to Dr. Lalit, how or what was life like before 2019?
Life was good. Of course, I was going about my business and, taking care of my family. Everything was okay, but now after breast cancer, those who have gone through either mastectomy or lumpectomy. Mastectomy means those who the whole breast is removed. Right. Lumpectomy is when the lump is removed from the breast. So I went through lumpectomy. The lump was removed, but then now some lymph nodes, which doctor will confirm, were also removed from my armpit. So I am advised not to strain that hand, otherwise it gets swollen, which is a bit stressful because, when you're a mother and you have kids, you have things to take care of, and always you have to be conscious and tell yourself, I have to slow down with whatever I'm doing so that I don't end up in the hospital again because my arm is swollen or because, things have not kind of gone well. But in all, it's been good. I've been able to manage by God's grace, and we're moving forward.
Right. Okay. Dr. Lalit, before we get to the details of, breast cancer treatment, causes, prevention, mammogram and all that, I mean, the statistics on breast cancer are shocking, to say the least. Like I have been saying, second cause of cancer-related deaths in the country. It causes about 685,000 deaths globally. That was in 2020. As of the end of 2020, there was 7.8 million women alive who were diagnosed with breast cancer in the past 5 years, which made it the most prevalent form of cancer. I mean, the statistics are shocking, Doc.
Absolutely. I mean, the prevalence globally is increasing day by day. And one must remember, these are the reported statistics. There are so many patients who are not reported, in cancer registries. So there will be so many women with breast cancer not receiving treatment, not coming to the hospital. So it's a long way to go. And it's a huge burden in society, as you rightly said.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I really want to get us to what I'm calling part B, where we talk about the mammogram and the self-examination. But in a nutshell, let's talk breast cancer and maybe start with the factors that increase the risk of breast cancer in women.
So the most important risk factor of developing breast cancer is the sex of the patient. So being female predisposes to breast cancer, and the older a lady is, the more risk of developing breast cancer. But having said that, as you discussed before, even men are prone to develop breast cancer. So the ratio is for every 100 women, there's 1 man with breast cancer. So the men out there listening to today's TV show, they should be aware that they can also be affected with breast cancer. And I do have a few patients with male breast cancer, Mm-hmm. Okay, and the other risk factors are being obese, lack of physical activity, tobacco consumption, alcohol consumption, genetic family history of breast cancer. Like if a patient has got 1 first-degree relative of breast cancer, the risk increases 2 times. And if a patient has 2 or more relatives, then it increases 3-fold. So more the family members, the higher the risk of developing breast cancer. And these are the common risk factors of developing breast cancer.
Mm-hmm. You talked about age when you mentioned breast cancer in women, and I'm curious, is there a particular age, like 40, 50? Can you give it a particular age?
No, we see breast cancer right from the young, maybe 20, 25 years to elderlies. Though the Western data says that the common age of presentation is 50, 55, but here we see young women with breast cancer. So age is not the criteria here.
Right.
Yes.
So you mentioned the fact that there are probably so many people out there who have it and they do not know. So how is this possible, or how long can you have breast cancer without knowing that you actually have it? Because in my perspective, Doc, the problem sometimes which leads to these many deaths which we're seeing today is because most people are diagnosed when it's at stage 4, where you pretty much cannot do a lot to help. So how long can you have breast cancer without knowing?
So exactly we cannot say, but the maximum period would be not more than 6 months. By 6 months it would have manifested clinically and the patient would have sought treatment. Okay. Mm-hmm. And as you said, 70% of the women come in 3rd or 4th stage, where cure is quite tough. So early detection, the better always.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Let's go back to that bit on men and breast cancer. Are these the same causes? I mean, the causes for women, are they the same as those?
More or less the same risk factors, yes.
All right, so it's important for men to know
Yes,
this.
absolutely.
Right. Okay, I'll come back to you, Doc. Melody, let's go back to life after 2019. And I'm sure you did mention this in your intro, Melody, but I want to know the changes, the transformation, the changes that happened during that time between 2019 to what year? When you had breast cancer?
2019 to 2020 September.
Yes. Let's talk about the transition then.
Yeah. Okay, I'm someone, as I normally say, I don't like going to the hospital. So for me now, going to the hospital regularly, and then, of course, not to visit someone, but to be taken care of, to be injected. I remember the nurses at Mpisha, normally they're like, okay, this one, we need special attention for her. We need to be more gentle with her because I think at some point the whole thing was traumatizing for me, which I've also heard a lot of cancer patients saying the same, because no one wakes up and they want to be going to the hospital regularly. So just that, that situation that comes with the treatment itself brings the patient down. So I think I went through that season as well, where, you're just, what do you call it? You don't even know what's going on. Yeah, so of course life changed. There were a lot of things I couldn't do. I had a 2-year-old. I couldn't pick her up because at that time my arm and my breast from the surgery was still healing. So doctor had advised me not to lift or pick up heavy stuff. So I couldn't lift her, and even, going to the kitchen to maybe make ugali, chapati and stuff, it was challenging. Mm-hmm. And I'm someone who loves to cook. So, yeah, all those changes. And of course, I had a life before breast cancer, but I couldn't go back immediately because, of course, of the changes and the health advice I had gotten from my doctors and all. So life has not been the same, but yeah, we are moving on.
How did all that affect you psychologically?
Of course, it was hard because, when you're an active person and now you have to rely on other people to do, basic stuff for you, it wasn't easy. But then I decided to be positive about it. And I was like, okay, if God wants me to be a princess, why not?
Oh, wow.
Let me just enjoy. Yeah, let me just enjoy
princess
that.
treatment.
Exactly. So if I'm not able to do something, I ask for help, compared to before where, you want to be the superwoman, you want to do everything by yourself. Right now, I take life easy. And as I normally say, I also guard my peace because after going through the treatment, your mindset, your emotions kind of changes. Little things that could not, trigger your senses, now does. So you have to be able to manage it and not, let people, how do I put it? Sometimes, let's say someone steps on you and you're like, oh, it's okay. After cancer, you can, start even fighting with a person. So you have to be able to manage your emotions and, get yourself to a positive place where it's not only about you, but at the same time, it's about you. You need to take care of yourself. So yeah, those balances need to be put in place after breast cancer.
Right.
Yeah.
How about certain changes in your body, in your appearance, Melody? I know you've mentioned the hand or the arm a lot,
Yes.
but most people, they associate chemotherapy with, say, hair loss. Did you experience that?
Yes, I lost all my hair. I didn't have any hair. My skin...
And it's back and it's beautiful.
Thank you very much. My skin became very dark and wrinkled, and it also had some rashes because of the treatment, because of both the chemo and the radiotherapy. After radiotherapy, I had burns. Of course, it started with my throat, so I couldn't swallow. I had sore throats. And then I had some burns in my armpits because that was where the radiation was concentrated on. So I had some burns in my armpits and then my collarbone. So it wasn't easy and it was an open wound, So I had to go through that, I think, for a month or so for it to heal. And, sometimes looking at the scars, it reminds you of where you've come from. And sometimes it's not easy because, I normally tell people you will not remember what you've gone through, but then those scars just tells you where you are also coming from. Yeah.
Right. Dr. Lalit, what are some of the symptoms of breast cancer? I know lump. Everybody talks about a lump, but what are these symptoms? The symptoms of breast cancer.
So symptoms of breast cancer depends on the stage of the disease. To put it simply, so the common manifestation is a lump in the breast, or a swelling in the armpit because of enlarged axillary lymph nodes, which is one of these signs of breast cancer. There can be changes of the skin of the breast. It can become an orange peel appearance. So these are the symptom of locally advanced breast cancer. There can be nipple retraction, skin ulceration of the breast, okay? And there can be symptoms of spread of the cancer, So if the cancer has spread to the brain, then the patient can have severe headache, vomiting, seizures, diminished eyesight. And if it has spread to the lungs, patient can have cough, breathing difficulty, chest pain, blood while coughing. And if it has gone to the bone, patients can have severe bone pains, sudden fracture. A patient just has a fall and develops a fracture following a trivial injury. So it's a sign of stage 4 breast cancer. It can also spread to the liver, causing abdominal pain, loss of appetite, okay, sometimes jaundice. So it all depends on what stage we are dealing with.
Right. Let's talk about the lump, which, like I said, I know most people are aware about. But this lump, what is it? How does it feel like?
So lump usually is not painful to begin with. It is hard and it is not mobile, it's fixed to the breast or to the underlying skin. But having said that, just based on these characteristics, we cannot diagnose whether it is benign or malignant. End of the day, it is a pathological diagnosis. We either do a FNA or a needle test or a biopsy. The biopsy is preferable. So just based on examination findings, we cannot diagnose 100%. We require pathological proof to confirm the diagnosis.
There's a question I got from online, from our socials, because I usually put it out there that we're having this conversation tonight, and some lady asked about a bra and whether the type of bra you wear can cause a lump.
No, there is no study to link bra wear with breast cancer. So it's absolutely safe.
All right, okay. So we'll get to mammogram and self-tests. I know I have said this a million times, we'll get there. But maybe what are some of the foods, for instance, that one should avoid if they have breast cancer or any other form of cancer?
So there is no specific dietary recommendation, On the contrary, we advise patients to eat whatever they feel like eating, because patients receiving chemotherapy or radiotherapy, as it is, their appetite is suppressed because of treatment. So we cannot ask them to avoid anything. And also there is no study saying that we need to avoid anything. So it's just have a proper balanced diet, strictly no tobacco use in any form. That's a strict no, and no alcohol consumption also, because these lead to cancers, any cancer for that matter.
Some of these things, Doc, they are online, they're on social media. You know, you'll find a whole article on what you should do, what you shouldn't do. So I guess the message here is, you know, see your doctor, see your oncologist, and he or she will be able to advise you on what's best.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
Okay, let's now talk mammogram, Doc. What is a mammogram? Let's start there.
So mammogram is a type of X-ray test to detect breast cancer. So breast cancer and cervical cancer are two cancers where various studies have shown that early detection is useful and it saves lives. So it is able to catch cancer in the early stage where treatment is easy to do, and it has resulted in more women surviving compared to other cancers where screening is not available. So the woman, when she goes for a mammogram, she's actually going for a special type of an X-ray where the breast will be compressed between two plates of the X-ray machine. So that is required so that we get an accurate image. So during this procedure, the lady might feel some pain temporarily. So that compression happens for 20 to 30 seconds only. And for the screening mammogram, two views are taken, this way and this way. So to put it simply, and when we are doing a diagnostic mammogram, we take more images, so from various angles. And the whole process takes maybe 10 to 15 minutes, and usually the reporting is done in the same day or the next day. And based on what is seen on the mammogram, the radiologist is going to advise further tests, whether any lump is seen or any calcification is seen, whether it is benign, possibly malignant, really malignant. So it all depends on the report of the mammogram.
And malignant is cancerous?
Yes, malignancy means cancer.
Right. Okay, so you've pretty much answered two more questions that I had on whether it's painful and whether it is painful and, of course, what it involves. And you have taken us through that, Doc. Lastly, before I come back to you, Melody, I've kept you waiting for a while. Is it possible to have it done on one breast, just one breast?
So it can be done following a treatment. So a lady undergone breast cancer treatment, she had a mastectomy, say, on the right side, then a surveillance mammogram for the left side can be done. But when it comes to screening, we want to screen both the breasts because we don't know which breast is affected. So when you're talking about single breast mammogram, we are talking about surveillance mammogram following complete treatment.
Right. Okay. Melody, I want to come back to you, and I want us to talk about support to, you know, do I say cancer patients, but not just cancer patients, but even any other patient out there, because you did mention your husband and how he was with you, you know, throughout the entire journey. I mean, how important is support for particularly breast cancer patients?
I would not just limit it to breast cancer, but all kinds of cancer. I just also want to take this opportunity to thank all the caregivers out there. I remember when I was diagnosed, my pastor and his wife were there for me. We had a neighbor, and then my friend Angela and her husband. I remember we went to see the oncologist, and he was like, you have to go to Kijabe for the surgeon who was going to remove the lump to check whether you're going to do chemo before the lump is removed, or the lump will be removed, then you can do chemo and radio. And they drove me all the way, you know, to Kijabe. And in those times, I was just traumatized, as I said, because I was like, I hate hospitals. Now I have to, you know, go through surgery. So having a caregiver is very important. It helps you to fight this battle better, especially a caregiver who understands what you're going through. And most of the time when I talk to the patients and even their caregivers at Nairobi West, I realize we don't, when we do cancer awareness, we need to also include the caregivers, because you need to equip them to know how to handle this patient that they're going home with, this patient that they're supposed to take care of. You know, when the side effects of chemo and radio kicks in, this patient has no idea. As I said, chemo normally plays on your emotions. Doctor can maybe confirm that. And so many things, you know, in your body, and you need someone who can understand you, someone who can say, okay, today she just wants to sleep, let me allow her to sleep, or today I need to get her out. I remember my husband was advised not to allow me to sleep too much. So sometimes, of course, with my stubbornness, I'm like, I want to stay in bed. If I'm allowed to say this, sometimes you get into some stage in the treatment where you feel like, I've given up. I just want to go and see my Lord, you know, and he will be there for me. He will be there and tell me, let's go for a walk. Sometimes I'm not able to go far. We'll just get to the gate and he will bring me back. So having a support system is very, very important. So if you're with someone, please don't be discouraged as you see them going down. I normally tell the caregivers, when you see these patients having those side effects, they are getting better because those side effects are showing that the cancer is getting out of their body. So don't be discouraged. And, you know, when you're going through the treatment and someone comes to see you and they are discouraged, or most of the time some people come to say their goodbyes because of, you know, all the stigma around cancer. We see it. And
did you experience that?
I did. Unfortunately, I did. And I don't blame anyone.
You experienced someone
yeah, not someone as in a few, you know.
Coming to say goodbye.
Not like literally,
I know,
but yes.
Alluding to it.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's normally traumatizing. So, but you see, these are things that are not spoken about when it comes to cancer awareness or cancer care. So these are things that, of course, through our foundation, we're looking forward to reaching out and educating or informing people about some of these things. Because when you come to visit me and you're looking at me like that, I can see it. And, you know, the little strength I have, exactly, it diminishes. And I'm like, okay, if this person is seeing me like this, then I am actually like that, you know. So the mental, you know, what do you call it, strain that it gives you, your emotions. So it's, I think we need to, as much as we are taking care of the patients, we need to take care of the people who are taking care of them as well.
Caregivers.
Exactly.
How about your children, Melody, if you allow me? Because you said you had a 2-year-old when you were diagnosed in 2019?
Yes.
Did it take a toll on them? Did they actually know what was happening to Mommy?
Actually, we had a very nice neighbor who had gone through it. So she told us not to inform them because she informed her kid, actually her kid's teacher, who now told the whole class, and now everyone was telling the kid, oh, your mom is going to, sorry to say, die. And yeah, the kid was traumatized. He had to be brought home and cancelled and yeah, all that. So she advised us not to inform our kids because they don't understand. And now when you go forward to now inform maybe their teachers, they are also afraid. You know, it's cancer. So they're also afraid.
Don't know how to deal with it.
Exactly. So we didn't inform the kids. My husband just told them, Mom is not feeling well. So like the 2-year-old, sometimes when she wants me to lift her up, he will do that. Or sometimes I'll sit and then he will just lift her up to sit on me. Yeah.
But they now know, especially because you're here.
Yes. Actually, we don't know if they know, but we are like, whatever they know, let it be that.
Let things remain as they are.
Exactly.
All right. So Mr. Inonda, my director, tells me we need to take a break. So let's take that break. Stay with us. We come back with this conversation on breast cancer here on Handbell.
Let's clear pimples. Step 1. Acne's Creamy Wash is a foamy and gentle cleanser that removes sebum and dirt in the pores. Step 2. Acne Soothing Toner maintains skin pH. Step 3. Acne Sealing Gel quickly clears pimple-causing bacteria. Mentholatum Acnes clears, cares, and helps prevent pimples. Roto.
Hii ni www.maybase.com na leo tuko hapa kwa ajili ya kumpatia cheki mshindi wetu wa jackpot ya wiki hii.
Majina ni Nancy Karimi Ndaru kutoka Kiritiri, Mbeere South, Embu County. Nilijua
The news that matters the most is the one that hits close to home. When disasters strike, we are there to inform you. When the bullets are flying, we tell you who's shooting and why. Reporting on your victories, your health, your money, your security, your past, present, and future. We are interested in telling the stories of creativity, hard work, and resilience that you are known for. That is our job. This is my job. My name is Victor Moyakane, and it's my honor to bring you this news this way every Thursday night on the Home of Untold Stories.
Katika majengo haya, hapa ndipo sheria zinapotungwa na zinapopakuliwa. Nitakuletea viongozi mbalimbali, mirengo mbalimbali, wote kwa pamoja wakipika na kupakua. Tutawapa nafasi kuweza kuangazia changamoto na mafanikio ya ugatuzi katika ukumbi wa siasa kila siku ya Jumanne kuanzia saa 1 kamili na kuendelea.
Toka eneo hili la Naivasha kwenye kaunti 032, gatuzi la Nakuru.
Toka kaunti ya Elgeyo Marakwet, kaunti 028.
Nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Wajir.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Turukana.
Kwa matukio yote yanayojiri katika kaunti hii 012.
Kutoka kaunti nambari 1, kaunti ya Mombasa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Lamu.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka Kisii County.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Machakos.
Kutoka kaunti hii ya Trans Nzoia.
Kaunti 038.
Kutoka gatuzi nambari 029, kaunti ya Nandi, chemichemi ya mabingwa.
Nikiripotia TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Kakamega.
Itakuwa nikiripotia runinga ya TV47 kutoka kaunti ya Bungoma.
Right, thank you so much for staying with us. This is Hasi, and our conversation tonight is on breast cancer with my guest Melody Ocheng, a breast cancer warrior and survivor, and of course Dr. Lalit Varad Pandey, who is a medical oncologist at the Nairobi West Hospital. Doc, we've talked about the mammogram. I really wanted us to discuss that. But there's also self-examination of one's breasts. Could you take us through that and how you do it?
So clinical self-breast examination is supposed to be performed by a woman once a month, and the ideal time is to time it 3 to 4 days after the menstrual period, because the breast is not tender at that time. And the best time is to do when she is alone at home and there's nobody to disturb her and there is privacy. And best is to examine in front of a large mirror if possible, both standing and sitting, and using the right hand for the left breast and vice versa, and using the tips of the fingers so that the accuracy is better in detecting any abnormality, and also doing the same examination while lying down. The aim is to see if any asymmetry between the two breasts while looking at the mirror, if both the breasts are symmetrical. If there is any asymmetry, that means there is some underlying problem, some underlying lump or a lymph node enlargement. So look at the skin over the breast, whether it is normal, there's any ulceration, any thickening or abnormal feel to the touch. Examine under the nipple if there's any swelling, any discharge is coming, especially blood-stained discharge. And similarly, the lady has to check her armpits also if there's any swelling, which could indicate possible axillary lymph node enlargement due to breast cancer. So this is the way self-breast examination is done. And there's another examination called clinical breast examination, which is to be done by a oncologist or a physician who is trained in examination breast cancer women. This is to be done once a year. This is also a useful screening test for women.
All right, let's talk prevention. I'm rushing because I don't have time, Doc. I do not have time, but let's talk prevention, because in my research, I discovered that it is estimated that there will be more than 25 million global cancer cases diagnosed annually by 2030. That's what, Google research says. So how do we prevent this? How do we not get here?
So prevention is by early detection, by having widespread screening program throughout the community. It's not only big cities should have, even the smallest of the smallest town should have a modality to screen, like a film-based mammogram or a digital-based mammogram. And all the counties in Kenya have got digital mammogram facilities throughout the country. So it is not only October, the pink month, that women should undergo screening. It is throughout the year. So there was a study some time back conducted in Kenya which showed that the incidence of mammogram increased tremendously during October, thanks to social media and TV, and they dropped down immediately after that. And what they noticed that almost 1/3 of the women didn't collect their mammogram report after 6 months.
My goodness.
And of that, 50% of the women with an abnormal mammogram, they didn't go for further testing. They didn't see an oncologist, they didn't get a FNAC or a biopsy done. So much to be done. So with media and TV shows like this, we can spread the awareness that it's not only October pink month, you do it throughout the year. That's very important.
And you know what, Doc, it's November and
Yes.
we're having this conversation.
Yes, that's very good.
We're doing well, right?
Yes.
Let's talk treatment before we wrap up. We've mentioned chemo, we've mentioned radiotherapy, we've mentioned mastectomy. There's another one you said, lumpectomy. Yeah? Take us through that, Doc.
So treatment of breast cancer is a multimodality treatment, as you rightly mentioned. So it's surgery, chemotherapy, radiotherapy. For surgery, the options are to remove the whole breast, which is mastectomy, and we can do lumpectomy. So lumpectomy, we are not removing the entire breast, we are just removing the lump with a surrounding rim of normal tissue. Okay, and along with that, we are going to remove the glands from the armpit, which is called axillary lymph node dissection. So it is not must that every woman undergo mastectomy. So breast conservation, which is lumpectomy, can be done. And there are ways of achieving this by doing pre-surgical chemotherapy to shrink the tumor size. So the oncologist can decide if a particular patient is suitable for lumpectomy. She can be advised pre-surgical chemotherapy, reduce the size of the tumor, the surgery becomes easy. And almost always women will require some form of chemotherapy to prevent the recurrence of breast cancer. And depending on the final stage of the disease, radiotherapy also is advised. And few women with receptor positive breast cancer will require hormonal therapy for periods ranging from 5 to 10 years.
Right.
Yes.
Let's talk cost, Melody, because you mentioned that in the beginning, and just how costly the cancer is.
Exactly.
That was my question.
Yeah, I know cancer is very expensive, and because of that, a lot of people shy away from it. But I'll recommend you go through the treatment. I've been talking to a few patients who have been coming from some parts of the country I don't want to mention, and it's worrying when someone is told, treatment is expensive, so go do herbal or go do juicing. So someone who is from stage 1 cancer goes all the way to stage 4 because they were juicing or they were using herbal. In as much as it has worked for a few people, I recommend you trust God for the finances or for your insurance to help you to go through the treatment. So yeah, those are some of the things we are looking at. I have a foundation now with the help of, I have a ministry. It's called... Yeah, so the foundation is called P23 Foundation. We have donors. One of them is AGRM Ministries. They are based in Australia. So they were a ministry that was praying for me during my treatment, and I didn't even know about it. So after the treatment, they reached out, and I was like, okay, that's nice. And I shared my idea of the foundation with them, and they've been really helpful with, we normally provide fruit baskets for the cancer patients at Nairobi West Hospital. And I also go there every Tuesday to encourage them. When you talk to the patients, most of them would love to go through the treatment, but it is expensive. So what we do as a foundation, of course, we are not able to help everyone. But those we're able to, we assist them because we know the burden of going through this. I remember when I was going through mine, our insurance, we had Jubilee, which was from KQ, my husband's employer. And it was helping until it got finished. Before they upgraded it, because apparently they had a rule where when you're going through, let's say, a chronic illness, they upgrade the insurance for you. But before they did that, I had to go to do my chemo. So we had to, as in, we didn't even have to call. Friends came and, came together, contributed for us. So it wasn't easy. Of course, we were supposed to have raised 100,000 overnight. And I don't think anyone is, having that money there, just for treatment. Of course, maybe if you have it for other plans. So again, we're grateful for the caregivers, our friends, and my former colleagues who came through. So the treatment is expensive, but I recommend you just go through it, trust God, He will provide, and healing, healing is sure. That much I can tell you.
Right.
Yes.
I want to get your closing remarks now. And Doc, I will ask an unfair question, which is whether we have enough oncologists and chemotherapy centers in the country. I'm asking this because of that story we aired from Isaac Famba, my colleague, where he said, especially in Trans Nzoia, no facilities and specialists to address the situation.
Sorry?
Do we have enough oncologists and
No, we don't have. I think it's only restricted to the bigger cities in Kenya. And we should have at least infusion centers in the smaller towns, have an oncologist, or have some telemedicine kind of system where somebody from the bigger cities can guide the doctors there and do chemotherapy. Because as rightly pointed out, it's very expensive, not even the cost of treatment, but loss of wages, somebody has to travel, the transportation costs, so it all adds up to the cost of treatment.
Right. Melody, your closing remarks in 30 seconds, please.
I just want to advise anyone who is not feeling well. When you go to the hospital and the doctor tells you it is cancer, please don't run away from the treatment. Cancer is curable. The doctors are doing their best. And at the end of the day, God is our healer. So I wouldn't want anyone to say it is cancer, let me just go home and, God forbid, die. But just know there is treatment. The treatment is... and it's been refined. The chemotherapy is not as cruel as it used to be. Right. So just